Good morning, everybody. Today is Sunday, October 6th, and I'm back in the garden. My last video, I said that I wouldn't be out here on a second day. This is weekend 6, and I had said that we were only going to be here the one day. However, my boyfriend had some family come into town, his sister and some other relatives, and he wanted to go ahead and stay in town an extra day. So we went ahead and stayed last night, and that gave me the opportunity to get out here bright and early this morning and get working. It is about 9 a.m. As you can see, part of the garden is still in shade. The sun is about to peek out over the trees that are back over my right shoulder here. So I'm trying to get this video done before the sun comes out and starts to cook me. So as you know from yesterday's video, we had some areas for improvement that didn't quite turn out the way I wanted them to. Today is my attempt at, basically my attempt at using up as you've heard me say, I have some older seed from previous gardens. Oh, here comes Bosco. There goes Bosco. He must have heard me talking. Hi, Bosco. Okay. So, you've heard me say that I had older seed from previous gardens years past, and I hadn't had a garden in a while. Some of that seed I've tested, some of it I hadn't tested. Some of the seed that I did test, had moderate, germination rate. Other seed that I tested didn't really have a germination rate at all. Those I threw away. That seed, the older seed, is all I had here this weekend at the ranch. And so I decided I was going to go ahead and get the rest of what I had here into the ground to cover up our disappointing areas that had some room for improvement. Get it in the ground, give it a week or two, see what comes of it. If nothing comes of it, we can still get fresh seed for the winter or seedlings from, some of the nurseries in the area, or at least in my area where I live, and I can bring them home either next weekend or the weekend after, or even further after that. Our growing season here is all year round, although there is less sun in the winter as everywhere else. We typically only get a few days of frost, and we rarely get any super hard freezes. We might get 2 or 3 hard freezes a year, and those only last for a few hours. Mostly it's just a couple days of frost down here in very deep South Texas. Okay, so what did I do? So as you can see over there where the corn got eaten by the worms, I've put in some more wintry type crops, and then I had a bald spot here in the middle. I'd have to go back and look. I might have planted some black-eyed peas or some type of bean there, and that didn't come up, so I got something else in there. And then over here was where I had planted the Swiss chard. I believe it was collard greens, a couple types of eggplant, and I want to say I had tried to put in some old acorn squash and maybe spaghetti squash seeds over in here, and nothing came of those. Now, when I went through and was kind of digging this area up to prepare it for planting, I did find 2 baby Swiss chard. I went ahead and pulled those out. Not purposefully, it was accidentally. And then when I was digging everything out, I did see that there was the 2 little Swiss chard. Sorry guys, but I did plant some of that same seed, and so it did have a very little germination rate. I had tested the germination rate on that, and it was okay. And then when I planted it in the ground, I planted quite a bit, and only 2 sprouted. So I guess I had better growth in the seed starter pots than I got here in the ground. So I don't know if that was temperature or what, because the seed starter pots I had in my apartment in a controlled temperature environment. So maybe now that it's cooling off some, it is 78 right now at 9:30 in the morning here in South Texas, and that is nice and cool feeling, although we are quite muggy. But hopefully with those kinds of temperatures, although it is still getting into the 90s. Today will be 94. But hopefully as we start to cool off, we're supposed to see two cold, quote unquote, cold fronts, northerns pass through here this week. One is going to drop our high temperatures down into the upper 80s. And then I believe the second one will actually drop our high temps down into either the lower 80s or possibly high 70s for a couple of days before we start ticking back up into the 80s. But after that second cold front, the weathermen say we will be out of the 90s for the fall and winter. We shall see about that. But anyway, let's get on to what we've got planned. So, let me zoom out a bit. So here on this first row or last row, anyway, it's the row closest to the road here. I planted all different types of onions. This type right here, we have evergreen long white bunching onion, and it should be sprouting in, well, 7 to 14 days. So let's hope that does something. We have some more long bunching onion here. This is Tokyo bunching onion. And this one is supposed to sprout also 7 to 14 days and is ready for harvest in 65. And then from here to down here, we have standard yellow onion. This is the Granix hybrid. I believe the other package is the same. They're just from different years. Again, these are going to sprout in 7 to 14 days. Days to maturity on these is 120. Again, this is also Granix. This is days to harvest 170, so I guess it's a slightly different breed, different manufacturer anyway, or grower. And then down here we have some red onion. This red burgundy onion, days to harvest is 100, and this is just red burgundy, no specific name on that. Okay. So we did get out here yesterday. My boyfriend showed up in the evening and we picked off a few more worms, and then we sprayed the BT on pretty much everything, hoping to prevent them from being attacked the way the corn was attacked. They have been eating on it. These plants, I think, got a little more mature before they started to be attacked, probably because the worms went for the corn first. Maybe that was their preferred dinner. And then after the corn was gone, they started to attack these, and these had already, established themselves a bit. So they weren't as susceptible to being damaged. But anyway, we got some BT on them, and I will be spraying weekly with the BT. Don't hate me. It's organic, right? That's what they say anyway. So I'm not trying to lose everything this year. So what I planted in here is early white bush scallop squash, also sometimes referred to as patty pan squash. This is one of my absolute favorite squash. There is absolute favorite vegetables. Days to harvest on this is 50. Days to germination is 7 to 10. I am already growing some of this in a green stock garden tower just because, well, that was the space I had available at the time to plant it. So I planted some there. I had tested the germination. It was okay. I don't expect that all of the seeds that I put in here will grow. So I put in quite a few seeds. There's about 30 seeds actually in this about 5-foot space, 6-foot space here. Yes, I'm aware I will have to probably thin that out. If they all sprout, I doubt they all will. I'm just hoping for, 4 or 5, maybe 6 plants to sprout in here. Again, we've got some beans over here. These were a little more heavily damaged by the worms, as you can see, but everything in here did get a good spraying yesterday evening. We did wait until the sun was behind those trees, which happened about 5:30, 6 o'clock. And then we came out here and sprayed in the evening so that, the sun wouldn't deteriorate the organic pesticide that I was putting on, the BT. Okay, this row here, I believe was where, well, both rows had golden corn down at one end and then silver corn in the middle. And then I had put in some older corn seed. I know they were sweet corn varieties, but I don't remember exactly which varieties they were. Down here, these never sprouted on this end, the older variety seed. Down there, I had a really good sprout. I mean, pretty much everything I put in the ground for the golden corn and the silver corn that was from this year all came up, but again, the worms ate it. And so we will not be having any corn. Pretty disappointed about that. Again, I could have gone and bought more corn seed. I know there's a bunch in stock back home at the nurseries and the big box stores, but you know, it must just not be in the cards right now for us to have corn. Typically, I have put the corn in much earlier than this, and they are much more established before these particular little worms that I was seeing start hitting them. And I can usually just spray them with some BT or put some diatomaceous earth around on the ground around the corn, and that pretty much keeps the worms from getting on the corn. But these were still little seedlings, little cornlings. They were only about 4 to 6 inches tall each, and the worms just absolutely destroyed them. I know I've said that already probably like 4 or 5 times in the last 2 videos. It's just really disappointing. But anyway, I decided to move on from there. So what I did is in that row over there, which you can either call the first or the last row, depending on which way you're looking at it. But anyway, the one closest to the fence here on the west side has our more wintry crops. We've got all of the cabbages and broccolis, all of the cruciferous vegetables, if you would. And then there's spinach and Swiss chard mixed in there as well. But I'll go item by item and tell you what they are. And then in this row here, this second row from the west side, I put in some root crops, which is going to be carrots and beets and radishes. So typically I would have waited maybe a little bit longer before I put these in. Maybe the carrots I usually put in October or so, but the radishes and the beets I usually wait a little bit later in October. But I thought, you know what, this is old seed, let me get it in. If it's not sprouted, no harm, no foul. They are predicting that it is supposed to start cooling off, so let's hope for the best with everything. Again, if nothing sprouts, no harm, no foul. I've been out here about 2 to 2.5 hours this morning, and I've gotten all of this done. Maybe that sounds like a waste of time because it's old seed and I don't know what's going to happen, but it's nice to be out here on such a beautiful morning, listening to the birds and enjoying the cooler temperatures, even though it's 78 and very, very muggy. And of course, hanging out with this guy. Okay, so what do we have here? So here and right there are basically the exact same thing. We have Detroit dark red, medium top beets. Days to maturity is 59, and excuse me, we have germination in 14 to 21 days. So this might take a while, again, if it comes up at all, but we do have our beets in the ground. I'm hoping to be here the next couple of weekends, but I do have some events coming up for work. We have our 50th anniversary for the nonprofit that I work for coming up in 2 weeks. And although it's on a Thursday, we have some other events that are going on the weekend. So I may or may not make it here that weekend. And then later in the month, we're wanting to go to Houston for a music festival and maybe to go to the Texas Renaissance Fair. So we might not make it here that weekend either, but maybe during the month of October, we might make it every other weekend. So good luck, little seedlings. Okay. Then in this area here and down to there, sorry if it's shaky, I have 2 different packs of radishes. They're different brands, different years. This is early scarlet. Oh my goodness. Early Scarlet Globe Rabano. And on this, we have days to germination, 4 to 6, days to harvest, 30. So that's one of the things I love about radish is how quickly they're ready to eat. And if you plant them in the fall instead of the spring, at least here in Texas, the spring can get hot pretty quickly. So they can get hot and bitter on you. This is the same kind, Early Scarlet Globe, different brand. No, same brand, just different packaging. Okay. And same thing on this, days to germination, 4 to 6. And it just, I guess, harvest in 23 days. So this one's even matures even faster. But yeah, if you plant them here in the fall, they stay sweet and it's great, and you harvest them quickly and they're amazing and delicious. I used to hate radishes when I was a kid, and you know, taste change as you get older, and I adore them now. Okay. So we have 3 different kinds of carrots in here. This one is little finger carrot, and we have harvest in 65 days, and I tore off where it says the germination date. Oops. Normally I try to open these packages very carefully. Some of these packages I actually got from my neighbor's brother, R.I.P. neighbor's brother. He would see me gardening in my front yard at my apartment complex, and he was a gentleman with mental illness, and you know, sometimes he would come over to see his sister, and I would be gardening in the yard, and you know, he would come and be very nice and kind, and he would give me seeds, and in turn he would also come and pick vegetables and things like that. Very nice gentleman when he was stable. Other times got a little scary, but he was a good guy. R.I.P. neighbor's brother. A veteran. So yeah, good guy. Anyway, he gave me some of these seeds. That's where I detoured from. He did give me some of these seeds. So some of the packages that are kind of ripped open were packages he had given me. Here we have Kaleidoscope Carrot Mix. And this says days to harvest 75. This does not say the days of germination either. So maybe I didn't rip it off on the other one, or he didn't rip it off on the other one. Maybe they're just not putting that on carrots. I wonder why. To keep you guessing, I guess. But let's hope we get some Kaleidoscope carrots. When I've grown those before, they were great. But again, a few years old. The girls in my neighborhood, when I grew those in my front yard, well, actually, when I grew all these carrots in my front yard, they absolutely adored them. The neighbor's curls. So, okay, whoops, sorry about that. So let me zoom out because that might help. Okay, so this is Nantes Champion Hybrid, and on this we have days to harvest 73. So these are some of the bigger carrots. Okay. Our row here on the west side. So again, I said this was like the more wintry crops, our cruciferous vegetables. And the first one that we have in here is broccoli. This is the Sun King hybrid. I will be picking that up. I'm not littering. Okay. So this is seedlings emerge in 10 to 21 days and harvest in 71 days. Again, a little earlier than I normally plant these guys in this row, but no harm, no foul. It is old seed. I don't have high expectations for it. Okay, we've got Big Ruffles Hybrid Spinach, and days to maturity on that is 44, and this is germination in 7 to 14 days. Okay, over here we have some all-season cabbage. It's a green style of cabbage, and this is germination 10 to 21 days, harvest in 87. And I'm sure these guys will need to be sprayed with BT as soon as they start coming out of the ground because the worms love them. Okay, So this is the Swiss chard seed. It is the same one that I had planted in the row on the east side over there. Forgive the dirt under my nails. Again, it didn't do very well in the ground, but when I had planted it in seed starter pots, everything sprouted. So I'm not sure what happened with the outside here. Again, maybe the temperature was wrong. Maybe the soil was wrong. Maybe the bugs were wrong. Anyway, this is what I'm putting in the ground here. Neon lights mix, days to maturity 60, sprouts in 7 to 14. Put that right back there. See, he follows me around to make sure I'm safe. He probably also thinks that I'm talking to him. You think I'm talking to you, Bosco? Yes, you do. You're a good boy. Okay. And here we have some Brussels sprouts. I have grown Brussels sprouts before. They did not do a whole lot of much of anything. Again, deep South Texas, climate pretty hot. Even when I grow these in the winter, they did a little bit of Brussels sprouting on the sides, but not a whole lot. I don't know, maybe if the soil's just off the pH or something. But anyway, days to maturity 80. And these should sprout in 10 to 21 days. So I'm seeing that a lot of these wintry crops here seem like they're going to take a little longer to sprout than some of the summer crops. Well, except for the radishes, because those just pop up, and I hope they do. Okay, here we have cauliflower Winter Dream. This is obviously a white cauliflower, as by the package there. Yes, these are very old seeds. And 70 days to harvest. Yep, 70 days to harvest. Not seeing the sprouting on that one. Okay. So, again, we've got our cruciferous vegetables along with some greens mixed in here. We've got root vegetables of carrots, radishes, and beets. As you know, we have yellow squash and green zucchini. Some more yellow squash down there. Okra. Now there we're going to have the white scallop squash. Fingers crossed on that one. It is my fave. And I couldn't find any of that in the store this year. Probably would have to order it online. At least not the stores in my area. Beans. I want to say these are the pinto beans. I want to say that was the black-eyed peas that didn't sprout there. But again, I'll have to check my chart. Didn't bring it out here with me. I need to remember to do that. And right here, we have one little squash of some type. I believe it is a butternut squash. Yeah, I'm going to say a butternut squash. I had also planted some pumpkin seeds in this area. I don't think those have sprouted. And then down here we have the row of random various cucumbers. Again, I'd have to get my chart to say what's what, but that is one type of cucumber. That there is another type of cucumber. And then down in here, we have yet another type of cucumber. And I also have some cucumber seedlings, a couple of starts that I had started indoors that are sitting on my mom's porch over there that I'm going to try to get in the ground today before the sun comes and bakes me. And it is coming. I need to finish this. It's getting long. Okay. Green beans down there, yellow beans over here, and I believe these are tomatillos. I need to check my chart. I say that every video. I'm sorry. One of these days I actually will. And then again, I already went through all of the onions with you guys. Okay, I need to stop this video because, oh my God, I'm long-winded. Sorry for that. So double video for week 6. So we'll see if we get out here. I think we'll be out here next weekend for sure. Almost for sure. And then the following weekend, not so sure, but we shall see. If I'm here, I will invite you guys along. Look forward to seeing you soon. Thank you for watching. And Bosco's taking a nap. Bye.